You never get a second chance to make a first impression. That is true for so many things in business, including the client onboarding experience. Hi, I'm Jennifer Peak, founder of the CFO School, and we help CPAs become high-performing CFOs. By the end of this video, you will have learned the key client onboarding best practices that you can start to use immediately. And be sure to watch until the end when I give you a bonus tip on how you can incorporate these into your current practice without creating a whole new onboarding process. The first step in creating a world-class onboarding experience for your clients is to start with the end in mind. And to be honest, this is really before the onboarding process. And what I'm talking about is your proposal and your engagement agreement. Now, I realize that not every engagement has a proposal, but every engagement should have an engagement agreement. I know that for a lot of you do it on every engagement that you have. But as you go along, you may find that you're less likely to do some of the formal agreements with ongoing clients or past clients, or even on smaller projects. And I would caution you not to fall into that trap. Now, there are lots of other reasons that will pay dividends down the road for you to have an agreement. But in this particular case, as it relates to onboarding, this is all about starting to create that client experience from the very first formal written interaction that you have with them. Now, when you sign the engagement agreement or you send it out to your client, you can certainly indicate to them in a note that this is just the first step, that as soon as the agreement is signed, then X, Y, and Z will happen. And it's really important to kind of create that tone from the beginning, because you will often have clients who are going to want to jump right in and get to work right away. And creating that framework for the process and the structure on how you work best will be critical as you continue on with that client. Step 2 is to have a simple yet consistent process to set the stage for the engagement. And all this really has to consist of, once you get that signed agreement, is a welcome email. And it can include all of the information like introduction to other team members, any pertinent links for submitting or sharing files, as well as a list of key dates for the engagement to the extent that those are appropriate. At a minimum, you're going to want to include a date for a kickoff or an introductory meeting if we're talking about a new client or even a new project with an existing client. And really, that's it. The point of that email, or several emails if that's what makes sense, is to really create an environment for your client that shows the structure and expertise and professionalism that you have in initiating and kicking off engagements in a process that is well defined. You will be surprised how far that goes to helping your client have the impression of you and the expectation of you that you're going to work in that type of a manner. I realize that this may sound very simplistic, and really it is. And to be honest, it's quite easy. I will also tell you, you'd be perhaps very surprised about the number of professionals that don't follow such a simple process. Step 3 in the onboarding process is to develop a simple yet consistent communication plan with your client and tell them what it is. Now, I realize that this may not technically sound like part of the onboarding process, and I can agree that it may not be, but I will tell you this, that if you don't create the environment with the structure for communicating with your client from the beginning of your engagement or project, they will define it for you. And here's what I mean by that. You will be getting random phone calls or emails or text messages asking things like, are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? What's the status? I want an update. And you're going to get those questions when it crosses their mind that they haven't heard from you lately and they're really not sure what's going on. So the best way to encourage your clients to communicate with you and or to make sure that they are getting routine updates is to create that communication process at the very beginning. And like I said, tell your client what it is. In your project plan, you may be saying, hey, we're gonna give you weekly updates, or you may have it built into your calendar that you're gonna give your clients weekly updates. If your clients don't know what to expect, they're not going to really give those weekly updates the consideration that they should be, given that there is a defined communication plan. I will assure you that having this conversation at the beginning will pay huge dividends for the length of the project, because I can also assure you that any of those status update requests from your clients are going to come at the least possibly convenient time for you and your team. Before we jump into that bonus tip, I'd love to hear your comments on any of your onboarding best practices, or even of your onboarding not going quite the way that you wanted it to. Right below this video, be sure to drop a comment and like the video while you're at it. Now, on to that bonus tip. While what I've outlined is pretty simple from an onboarding process, and it may even sound easy, I also know that implementing anything that's new can be a little daunting, mostly because it's just changed to the way things have been done. And when you're trying to onboard a new client, you're really anxious to get in there and get started, just like your client is anxious for you to get in there and get started. So instead of creating a whole project or designing a brand new soup to nuts project around that, we really want to focus on taking small steps. To be honest, taking small steps will help you move more quickly. It'll get you a quick win in your own CFO business, and it will help you move forward with a client in a way that you weren't going to before. Something small can simply be writing that welcome email. Now, if you're going to sign a new client or you have one on the horizon, you can just do it when you onboard that new client. If that's not something that's going to happen for you, take 5 minutes and write one today. You can save it as a template, and then it's ready for you to use as soon as you sign that new engagement. Creating and implementing a world-class onboarding process for your clients is just one step into creating a great CFO practice. If you have found this video helpful, you'll probably also find our training video on 5 ways to streamline your finance organization operations equally as helpful. Now, this is a little bit of a longer training, but it will pay dividends to you far into the future. Be sure to watch it on this channel as soon as you finish this video.